Okay, tools needed. Some sort of catch pan. This is going to keep everything clean. That way you can spray your brake cleaner on all your parts, let it come down and catch, not make a mess in your driveway or garage. You're going to need whatever socket to get your wheels off. In my case, it's a 19 with a security lug adapter. You're going to need 3 primary sizes for the whole job. An 18 millimeter for the caliper carrier bracket bolts, a 15 millimeter for the front caliper slide pins, and a 13 millimeter for the rear slide pins. You're going to need some brake grease, of course. A big 2-foot breaker bar. Super worth it for this job. And 1/2-inch drive, of course. A 1/2-inch drive torque wrench, absolute must, put everything right together. I found having a long 1/2-inch drive ratchet was absolutely handy. You could get away without it for sure. And I definitely, even though this is kind of a dated tool, I use this old Craftsman 1/2-inch drive a lot. I just find that a smaller 1/2-inch drive ratchet, once things are broken free, just makes it easier to get things off. Of course, if you had a little impact wrench or driver or a ratchet that's going to be able to fit, that's going to be a big time saver. Didn't have that for this job. This is all hand tools for me. BFH, you get the rotors free, some pliers or a wrench to get on the slide pin here on the flats to keep it from spinning whenever you're backing these bolts off. Wrench would be preferable. Didn't have one quite this big. I think it was a 17, might have been an 18 even. You're gonna need a brake kit, which I'll get into in more detail in the video. This one's about 25 bucks on Amazon, and I'll put a link in the description here. Some means of hanging the caliper. I use an S bracket here. I think zip ties would be more flexible for this job. I would recommend that, having done it now. And you're definitely gonna need a wire wheel to dress your hubs and get all the rust free so that you can get your new rotors indexed nice and flat so you don't have any run out right off the bat. Now, parts-wise, I'm going with these coated power stop rotors in Akebono pads. These are the rear rotors. Here's the part number. And then these are the front rotors. Here's the part number. Here's the part number for the front pads. And here's the part number for the rear pads. And I'll put all this in the description. Now, I've had coated rotors before. I haven't had these Geomet coated rotors, so I'm unfamiliar. When you pull these out of the box, they're very kind of a matte silver look. And I learned this just before I almost went and sprayed brake cleaner all over them, that you're not supposed to spray these down with brake cleaner. They come clean. There's not the usual greasy, oily film on them to keep them from rusted. They are dry, they are clean. So whenever you pull these out, you want to handle them with clean hands and just put them right on the vehicle. Essentially the pad will scrape off the coating on the friction surface and then leave the coating on the vanes and the rotor hat there and on the inside to minimize rust, which is really nice considering we're down here near the coast. And we're actually replacing the old ones because they rusted pretty poorly here on the inside inboard edge of the rotor. This is off the driver's side front. And of course the brakes were doing the sound driving around. And interestingly, you know, the pad basically makes full contact here. There should just be like a little 1/8-inch lip on either side. And for whatever reason on this inboard side, the pad was not. And these are pretty deep pits. The Ford dealer wanted to machine these and reuse them, despite the fact that's quite deep. And these are super rusty inside where it goes on the hub. The outer surface wore just fine. There's no grooves. There's just the usual, just real faint lip there. And the rotor kind of drum hat there is not in bad shape either. But yeah, pretty surprised to think that they wanted to put the time and effort and money into machining these when, gosh, you know, I think I got, these are about $70 a piece for the fronts and the rears with pads, shipping, and tax for all new parts. In Southern California, I think this order was $456 out the door. Dealer wanted almost $1,000 to put the old rotors back on after machine work and just doing a pad replacement, which frankly I think is insanity, but you know, up for debate. I don't think it's worth it, especially down by the coast. I can't imagine putting these rotors back on the car for another 60,000 miles plus. Disassembly is pretty straightforward. You just want to get the caliper removed first, and then you have more room to get your ratchet or breaker bar in there to break those loose, because those definitely put up a little bit of a fight. Normally I've got an impact wrench with me, but today I'm working with all hand tools. So this is where I like to break them with the longer ratchet and then use this shorter one just to spin them off. And you know, this is my old Craftsman ratchet. God, I've had this thing for 16 years now. It's part of my first real toolkit I bought in the spring of 2010. And I've done a lot of good jobs with it. But man, you know, once you get yourself a high tooth count ratchet with some leverage factor, that's a 15-inch one there, it's just night and day. I mean, this thing's still quite useful. And I use it a lot still. And little quick tip, if you have one of these old ones, the grease dries out in them. It makes them even stiffer and notchier than they already are new. So if you take one apart and you get all that old grease out and you rebuild it, I actually rebuilt this one with the same grease that I'm going to use to grease these slide pins, just brake caliper grease. I mean, man, it just makes these half-inch drive ones butter smooth. So with those loose, we can get the caliper off. And then I've got a hanger there, but since I'm filming, I'm just gonna set this thing up top, right there on top of the shock for now. Zip ties are a godsend to have on hand for a job like this. Really handy to keep things from falling. Of course, a lot of people use these kind of S-hooks to hang things from. So once that's free, then you can get in with your breaker bar. And let's see if I can get a bite on that. Yep. Get a bite on that. This is where having a big breaker bar is pretty key. Because even filming, I can get that cracked free. So I'll crack it with the breaker bar. Having just that little pivot's a godsend. I can just clear the fender. There, that one's cracked free. And then I'll pop that off, and it's probably still, these are pretty tight. It's really not feasible quite yet to throw the shorter ratchet on it there. So this is where I'll throw the bigger ratchet on and get that going. Yeah, that's the wrestling match you're in for. Definitely want something with some leverage. This is the orientation that the bracket is on the car. You can see that's how those pins go on, where that loop is facing back away from the rotor. This is the outside of the caliper, and that is the inside. It's the same thing facing back there. And this is where the fun part begins, because to do a proper quality job, you really want to get the rust off of this mating surface here. So the rotor is going to go on straight and not have any run out when new, which is just going to cause you to have pulsing in your brakes in no time. If you run your finger over this, you'll feel this surface here, which this almost looks like a mini brake rotor surface. There's a little lip right here on the outside. There's a little lip right here that's about a 1/4 inch wide on the inside. This all has to be free of rust. Wire wheel and a drill is how I'm going to do it today, but this is where a little mini angle grinder or mini die grinder with a little wire wheel would be handy. But yeah, you got to get this hub surface cleaned up. I lucked out. The other side was almost rust free here. I just had to touch up this outside edge. I was hoping for a repeat here because that went real easy, but this is going to be a little more work to get in here. But if you want to do a quality job and have your brakes be vibration free and not warp your brand new rotors, this is absolutely paramount to the process. You cannot skip and gloss over this. Okay, so after about 5 minutes of wire wheel, the hub is all cleaned up. What's great about this cup style is you can get in at an angle and get that no man's land between the stud and that inner flange, and you can go all the way around and get those. It took some changing of direction. You want to be careful that you don't mar up your threads, but you can see some of the residual pitting, but overall, like, that's a rust-free hub with a good clean mounting surface, and that's what you're going for. if you want to go a step further, you could put some sort of rust preventative spray on this. I'm not going to, but would be a good idea. I forgot to record, but worth mentioning, I just gave everything a quick hit of brake cleaner, a little wipe down. I flossed this area out in here, just kind of flossed it with the rag top and bottom, give everything another quick hit of brake cleaner, and we are ready to clean up our hands or put on some clean gloves and then put the rotor on, and then we can reinstall the caliper bracket there. So I sprayed the caliper down with some brake cleaner, just clean it off. This is where I'd love to have a parts washer. I could get this really clean. I thought about pressure washing it out in the front yard, and I thought about it more and chose life. But we've got the clips in. So that's the top of the caliper here, the flat clips, and then the bottom of the caliper has those clips that have the rolled edge on them. So you're gonna wanna hook them here and then press in next. So I'm gonna get this caliper put back on, we'll put a little dab of grease in, we'll load the pads, and we will be ready to compress the pistons in the caliper. Okay, so the caliper bracket is back on and torqued to 111 foot-pounds, top and bottom. I've got the pads loaded up with just a little thin film of grease there in the hardware. This is not a some is good, more is better situation. And I've got this S-hook supporting the caliper, and I'd gotten a kit thinking that these were keyed pistons. I don't know why I had that in my head, but these are just standard pistons. They compress straight in, no need for rotation as they go. So a normal piston compressor or even a trigger clamp would work just fine. I gave all this little wipe down first, and yeah, it's time to compress these pistons. And we will be ready to throw this caliper back on and move on to the rears. So we got the wrench set to 48 foot-pounds. So that is torqued. This is back together. Now, I'm gonna bleed these when I'm done, so I have to do the rears. And the bleeding order is you do the furthest away from the master cylinder. So you do the passenger rear, then the driver rear, then the passenger front, then the driver front. But these are the bleeders underneath these. I believe this is an 11 mil fitting right here to crack that loose. So that'll be a separate video. But for now, we are done with the front, and the wheels can go back on, and we'll move on to the rears. Okay, rear brakes right off the bat. You're gonna have a hardware change. The caliper is now held on with 13 millimeter bolts rather than 15. Caliper bracket is still the same 18 millimeter bolts, same torque spec. This is a torque spec that drops down to 22 foot-pounds for the rear. You don't have much room to hang the caliper, and you can't hang the caliper until you get the bracket off. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is get the caliper removed and hung. This is where I would really benefit from zip ties. I didn't have those, so this is a little bit precarious getting this off here today. But you don't have enough clearance to get this hung until the bracket's off. So you get the caliper slipped off, you get the bracket off, and then you can get the caliper hung. And then let's get into the differences here. You no longer have a raised lip on the inner and outer edges on the hub. This is all one flat surface. So this all has to be derusted. So extra prep. I also found both of these sides to be much rustier than I found the front rotors to be. So the wire cup wheel got a good workout to get in and clean everything up there. Another difference here, the caliper hardware is symmetrical. Remember on the fronts, there are some differences between the top and the bottom. No more differences here. And on the pistons, you will need the special piston tool, which we'll get into next. Now, when it comes time to compress your rear calipers, you will need a kit that has both the right hand and left hand threads. I'm using this kit from Orion Motor Tools. This is about $25 or so on Amazon. Adapter number 6 is the right size for the caliper. That's got 2 pins that drop onto the piston. And then this is the driver's side. Driver's side compresses counterclockwise, so I'm using the left-hand thread. Passenger side compresses clockwise, you would use the right-hand thread. So you slip your plate over this, it indexes on a little flange right there, and then you can spin that up until it's snug, at which point you can start turning that and compressing that piston back into the bore there. You're dead in the water if you don't have a means to rotate the piston. So you really need this tool. You don't want to cut the boot trying to do this with pliers and mar up this surface. So spend the 25 bucks. There's nicer ones out there for sure, but for the home gamer, this will absolutely do the job. And then you can push your pistons all the way back in. And we will spray this down with some brake cleaner, get our rotor mounted up, get our carrier bracket back on, torque that to 111 foot-pounds, get our caliper on, torque that to 22 foot-pounds, at which point we'll be ready for a bleed. Now, when it comes time to pull this back together, keep in mind, you can't just torque the caliper bracket down while your caliper hangs up here, or you'll find you can't get the caliper on. So you gotta drop the caliper down, slip the bracket in, go ahead and get this bolt in, and then go ahead and get the bottom one in, get that one torqued while this is kind of down out of the way, and then you can get the caliper slipped on and get it pinned, at which point you can get the lower bracket bolt torqued by having your wrench out towards the front there. Remember, this is 111 foot-pounds there. And then you can get these torqued to 22. Now, the astute may have noticed I did not pull my pins and grease them. They feel very good. I don't have new boots to put on, and these are very easy to do at a later date. So these feel good and smooth. There's plenty of grease inside there. I'm leaving those alone for this brake job. Okay, and with that back together, there's a little bit of jockeying with the caliper. That's probably the most awkward part of the job here. But everything's back on. The caliper bracket's torqued to 111 foot-pounds. Caliper's torqued to 22. We've got nice new coated rotors from Power Stop, nice new ceramic pads from Akebono. I'm gonna give the brake pedal a few pumps to get the pistons pushed back out and in contact with the pads. Get the wheel on, torqued to 100 foot-pounds, drop the truck, and then I'll do a second video here on how to bleed everything. If you made it this far, man, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. If you feel like if there's something I've missed or you want to know more about, drop a comment. Thanks. Now, as far as bleeding goes, now if you're real smart, like way smarter than I am, you would sequence this job so you do your fronts first. Doesn't really matter which side, and then you do your backs, and you don't do what I did, and you wind up doing your driver's side rear last, because this is not the first one you need to bleed, right? So either put your axle up on jack stands on both sides, or your frame, however you want to lift it, but leave your passenger side rear exposed, i.e. don't do that one first and then put the wheel back on, because then you can just go ahead and bleed right from the furthest point, and then you can come around and you can do your driver's side, and then you can move on to your passenger side front and then your driver's side front, and that's just going to make the sequence a little easier. I was planning on just doing this with all the wheels on, but if you're going to do it all in one go, you might as well put a little thought into the sequence of it to make it a little easier. There's enough room to get to the calipers and get bleeder on, especially if you're using a pressure bleeder from the master cylinder, which is the method I'm going to use here.